Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm great,
on this
Charles. How are you?
On episode 97, the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. Or is it? I mean, it is, technically, by, the numbered ones. But if you count the spin-offs, then this is technically episode 100. So
yeah, we didn't do anything to celebrate.
I have a cake actually here that I'm going to eat entirely by myself in the nude.
Can I have some?
No.
Oh. Okay.
You can't
have.
At
least put some pants on.
No, I'm. This is my special day. All right. It's not every day a boy gets to celebrate the 100th episode of his podcast, but not. I mean, technically, but not actually, because we have another 100th episode that we're doing relatively soon.
Could you at least move the camera up so I can see your face and not your lower half?
Fine.
I mean, well, obviously we're in the same room, locked in here for years, but
you know,
there's a small divider in between us now.
Yeah,
and now we use cameras to see each other for the podcast.
Yeah, we got two IMAX cameras moved in here, and that's how we watch one another. It's through the lens of an IMAX camera. I mentioned this series a few weeks ago. This is the Question series about DC's famous-ish third tier character of the Question.
Oh,
you know,
it wasn't a few weeks ago, by the way. It was last week.
No, it was last week, but you know,
for us it was a few weeks ago, but for you all it was last week.
For everyone in the world, it was a few weeks ago. For us, it was yesterday.
It was today. It was right now.
Yeah. So, the Question. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him. But if you don't know him, he is Vic Sage.
Nobody knows him.
Yeah, his name is Vic Sage. The Question is, you'll have seen him in Justice League Unlimited and a few other things. The Final Crisis comic story arc, all sorts of stuff. He's the guy who doesn't have a face. He wears a suit and a big fedora and an overcoat, and he's got a mask that makes it look like he doesn't have a face.
So DC hero, DC Universe hero.
Detective Comics hero.
Who doesn't have a face.
He doesn't wear a face.
Detective guy.
Most notoriously, he is the inspiration for the character of Rorschach from Watchmen. You know? Acquired in the same purchase as Peacemaker from Charlton Comics in the mid-'80s, I think. That's when that purchase was made.
Yeah, we're getting history facts.
Yeah, I know things. I know things about comic books and other things.
That's probably all a lie.
Man, I wish.
Don't believe anything he says. It probably was the 50s or the 60s.
Maybe. I just know the Watchmen was written in the 80s. That's all I know. I'm pretty sure. It wasn't written in the 90s. I know that for
What's your
a
show,
fact.
Charlie, please?
This is about the Question.
I hope you actually have something written down. I have not just stalling so that we can get to the 40-minute mark and you can get out.
Whole idea of how the series is going to go.
He's showing me a blank notebook right now.
Yeah, it's full. It's just doodles. It's just pictures of Jake Gloth running up and down a big staircase.
You can't draw, so it would be terrible pictures.
So Vic Sage is an investigative journalist who's living in Hub City. Previously, he was an investigative journalist. Now, he is working for a secretive government organization to find a gangster, and who is, in secret living in Hub City.
What's Hub City?
Hub City is, in DC Comics, it's just this, shitty Midwestern city. But I have decided to change it up a little bit, because you know how Gotham is supposed to be in New Jersey, right? And
so Chicago.
I think it's supposed to be like Chicago.
New Jersey in the movies, and Metropolis is New York, and they're right next to each other.
Yeah, that one. Central City is where the Flash hangs out, and that's a bit farther down, middle of the country. Right?
They're all New York, really. That's what it is.
Well, Hub City is this DC Universe's version of, what do you call it? New Orleans? That's how I'm setting it up. So
that's a cool setting, New Orleans.
Yeah, I think a New Orleans setting, it's got a little bit of crime, a little bit of corruption. There's maybe a few comic book,
a little bit of jazz,
a lot of jazz. There's gonna be so much jazz in the series, so much smoking.
He promises it, but there'll be one cigarette and one jazz song. And they won't be like, they'll be in the back corner of a scene.
Yeah.
You can barely hear the music.
We're going to have to figure out how to get the question to smoke, even though his mask doesn't have a face on it, so there's no...
If it's animated, you can just put a cigarette in his mouth and boom.
Yeah, that is true.
He's smoking. If it's a real show, live action, then I don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, Vic Sage has been teamed up with a few other DC alumni as part of this secret government organization. Alumni.
Oh.
DC Comics alumni.
Bunch of geezers.
To investigate this Kingpin as well as, larger conspiracies that are afoot in Hub City.
This Kingpin or the Kingpin?
This Kingpin.
It's Marvel Comics for some reason.
Spider-Man.
Kingpin's a character in Marvel.
It's actually Spider-Man. The Kingpin is Spider-Man. And it's not actually drugs, it's comic book sales.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a big money fight.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Kevin Feige and Ben Affleck are going to beat each other up.
Big Kevin Feige and Ben Affleck would never fight. They would only kiss.
I think Ben Affleck would win, too.
But Ben Affleck's got that sadness in his soul,
Also, he's from, Boston. Yeah. I feel like there's some aggression there.
And he's dating, he's engaged to J-Lo again. Things are looking up for him.
So he probably had to get back in shape.
A little bit, probably. Yeah. So the other two DC alumni that Vic Sage starts the series out with is Ted Kord, otherwise known as the original Blue Beetle.
Yeah, so smart scientist guy.
He's their tech guy. He's not put on the full Blue Beetle costume yet, but he's, he makes Vic his gadgets. Maybe we get him a grappling hook gun and some stuff like that, but he's not got all sorts of crazy stuff. He's an investigative journalist after all. He's not a super cop or anything. Although he does know karate, because of course he knows karate. Everyone knows karate.
How could you not know karate?
And the other is Renee Montoya, formerly a detective on the GCPD, Gotham City Police Department, if you were wondering what GCPD stands for. But now she's been moved down to Hub City because she, got a little too close to the truth. And Jim Gordon hasn't cleaned up the whole of the department yet.
Oh. So crazy how you can get transferred from one part of the country to another. I don't think it works like that.
Well, it's comic books, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, I guess that's right. It's probably happened in the comics.
Yeah. So I have a huge criminal organization run by a mysterious person is shipping drugs into Hub City along with meta-powered criminals in order to distract the HCPD, the Hub City Police Department.
Okay. So it's yet a trio of
these
heroes working on this case.
Yeah,
all right?
They're working on this case. They've been hired by a secretive government guy. You think like an Amanda Waller type, and you think, is this going to be Amanda Waller? But it's not Amanda Waller.
Oh my God, it's going to be like that dude from Fast and Furious.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell's character, but he had a crazy name.
What's his name? Mr.
Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
Almost. It's going to be Mr. Nobody, and you're going to realize in this show that the DC universe and the Fast and Furious universe are one.
Honestly, if you told me that Idris Elba's character in Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, if you told me that guy and the guy from Suicide Squad were the same guy, I would believe you.
The Suicide Squad?
The good Suicide Squad movie, not the bad Suicide Squad movie. Right? You've seen.
They look very similar, the guys.
Yeah, uncanny, almost.
Yeah.
I feel like
Idris Elba looks just like the guy in the Suicide Squad. So much like him, he even sounds like him.
Are they brothers?
I think they have the same name, too.
Yeah. So
same social security number, that's for sure.
Oh shit, they have a social security number? Idris Elba's
British,
English.
He doesn't have one.
How did he get a social security number? Did he kill a man?
He's the same NHS number.
I don't know enough about the NHS.
I think they have numbers.
They probably have numbers at the NHS. They probably have heard of them before. So
Don't give anyone your NHS number.
Don't do it.
Else they might get health care.
They might get free health care on your dollar, even though you don't pay for it either. I mean, taxes. I guess you pay for it in taxes.
Yeah.
But, Episode 1 starts with the Question. He drives this, like, really cool... I've got the idea that the Question's driving this really cool, like, 70s-style muscle car. Right?
Okay.
And it's...
like a 69 Mustang.
Yeah, or like the car from Bullet, you know?
That's the car that John Wick drives in the first movie that gets stolen by the Russian guy who plays Theon Greyjoy.
By Reek, you mean Reek. Played by Reek. He's got that. He's got like a really cool 70s, 60s muscle car, but it's all kitted out with like gadgets and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That Ted Cord has installed.
It's Pooh Brown too.
It's Pooh Brown.
Because no one knows this, but the Question is colorblind. He has no idea it looks crappy.
Who knew that? Knew this? The Question smells like poo, so he's got the Pooh Mobile. That's what he calls it. Yeah. He's chasing down a bank robber, right? The Question. Bank robbery's just happened. He's chasing it down. We're starting in medias res. He's doing the cool Fast and Furious thing where he's changing gears really fast.
Switching the gears. Hits the little nitro switch.
He's got a nitro switch. He's got like a grappling hook that he can shoot into a guy's car and all sorts of fun stuff. Chases him down, stops him, punches him in the face a few times, as a superhero is wanted to do. And then he finds out that he's working for Blockbuster. Now, do you know of the character of Blockbuster?
I do. Great store. He used to sell movies.
Oh, it's the best.
I love their
popcorn.
cheap rentals.
I loved if you worked there, you got free movie rentals. Great business model.
I didn't know that.
I mean, they don't exist anymore. So
no, he's a super villain.
He's like this mobster kind of guy, but he takes.
Isn't he just like strong? I don't know. He didn't really have anything cool about it.
I think his thing was that he was like a really smart guy. He was like a smart, calculating mobster dude, and then he takes like a pill or something or an injection, and it makes him into like a super, super strong guy, but his brain don't work so good. So he's kind of like Bane.
Like the Hulk.
Like the Hulk, but instead of green skin, he gets like really long hair, which I always think is very funny. He turns into this huge muscle-bound dude, but he's got like beautiful long hair. It's
always like really 80s looking too.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the Question, he's interrogating this guy, finds out he works for Blockbuster, Then we do some more investigating. He's like trying to find out where he lives. He's doing all this stuff. He's meeting his contacts. We have a scene with him and Renee Montoya's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're drawing a lot of attention to us. You're driving people down in the middle of the street. People are talking about it. What the hell? All this stuff." Question's like, "Bah, blah, blah, blah. Don't you dare talk back to me. I'm Question. Don't question me. I've got the questions."
I have the questions and the answers. So
he gets like talked down to by secret boss. He's like got a voice modulator on, and he's like, "Don't be doing that, Vic. You dick. All right, calm down." And he's like, "Ah, shit.
Gotta pull it together."
Yeah, but that's how the episode goes, and then the episode ends with another car chase. But it's against a tank.
Oh, he's chasing a tank?
He's chasing a tank.
Streets of New Orleans?
Yeah. It's
very
great.
Comic booky.
Very I'm trying to... this show is kind of like... I wrote the pitch for it after I watched Peacemaker. So I'm thinking it's kind of existing within the same universe.
Yeah.
So it's like a sci-fi tank sort of situation, so it can go fast, And it's got a guy in it, Vic Sage is able to blow it up, and Renee Montoya does something. She manages to like lay down a bunch of mines or something, blow up the tank, get him to fuck off. We find out it's a meta, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's a meta," and they're like, "Oh god, what the fuck?" This guy like jumps out of the tank. He's got fire powers, some shit. He starts like blasting people, and Vic Sage takes him down really easily. He like shoots him with some foam, like fire retardant foam that he's got in his car.
He's got a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, he shoots him with a fire extinguisher and then punches him in the face and knocks him out. And
if you shoot someone with the fire extinguisher, you should then use the fire extinguisher as a club to hit him.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's much better. He just the guy's like, "What the fuck?"
Whacks him.
Yeah, knocks him right in the head, knocks him out. And, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. You know, he gets some vital piece of information. But now, the question is officially on our mysterious bad guy's hit list. You know, he's become a problem. You know, because he's stopped one of his metas, so the police didn't waste their time on it. Because the whole bad guy's plan, is basically to fill Hub City with drugs, but cause so much superpowered crime to happen that the police can't waste any time, you know, picking up drug dealers and stuff.
Yeah, they gotta move all the resources from the DEA, or not the DEA, whatever the hell, their department of, the police department's narcotics division.
Yeah.
Over to the homicide, or they probably have a superhero division. They usually do.
Yeah, you could probably just say that Renee Montoya works for the Hub City, like, superhero division, you know? Yeah. Superpowered criminal division. And, you know, that's why she knows the question. And
yeah,
so,
it's like superheroes are, like, contracted. Maybe you could have something like that. So, because, you know, questions got to get paid.
Yeah.
It's like contracted, freelancing for the department.
And I also
he doesn't have to get paid. I'm just coming up with stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if he did get paid and they had like a secret underground base that was kind of like a mixture.
It's like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, like the Ninja Turtles. I don't know. We could do like a fun New Orleans thing with it, where it's like it looks like a ship that's sunken in the swamps in the bayou or something, and then Vic Sage like drives his car into it and it lowers down. And there's like this cool underground science thing, and that's where you meet Ted Cord for the first time. And
I got it. It should be a giant like head thing, and it rises out of the swamp, and this kind of menacing theme plays, and Lex Luthor's there.
Yeah, and he's got a big purple collar.
Maybe they can call themselves the Legion of Boom. Boom.
Oh, that's good. Legion of Boom comic book. Company. Boom Studios.
Anyway, so they got this cool underwater ground layer thing.
Yeah. And, you know, they're doing some stuff. And that's how the first episode ends, with Ted Cord knocking that meta out and being like, this is like, I feel like this is bigger than just, you know, smuggling.
By Ted Cord, you mean the question?
Or the question, not Ted Cord. Vic Sage. Ted Cord is the Blue Beetle. He'll show up later. The question knocks the guy out, and he's like, this is bigger than just, you know, some drug addicts and, you know, some superpowered kids. This is like some serious stuff. And so episode 2 is there's not going to be a lot of fistfights in it. You know, maybe there's one or two fistfights, just one fistfight. Ted Cord or Vic Sage. I keep saying Ted Cord. I don't know why. Vic Sage. The question goes to like a seedy bar that supervillains hang out at, because there's always one where supervillains hang out, or goons. Maybe he can go to like a henchman bar, and he just like starts cracking some skulls and getting information. And
we could do a nice little what's it called? Cameo for the show. I think I had it. It was my show, I think.
Yeah,
the henchman.
The henchman. Yes, that would be good. We'll
be the henchman.
Background. We can get our heads. We can get like both of our nose broken.
Conversation that's very quiet in the background about benefits.
Yeah, benefits. The app. You know, you can get that new what's it called? That new update. Yeah, it's really shit. You know, it used to tell me.
I was talking about like, you know, like benefits for like, oh yeah, Two-Face, you know, he doesn't have health coverage, and what's it called? Penguin's 401k match. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, Penguin takes care of his people, bro. Two-Face, that guy's an asshole half the time. The other half of the time, absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to work with him because sometimes
very professional.
You get full health coverage and dental. On the other half of the time, he's throwing you out in the street for forgetting to punch in.
Sometimes, you know, Two-Face is very weird with that kind of thing. He only gives you have to pick either dental or healthcare. Those are the two. Can't have both. You know, but
you'll flip a coin and you only get one.
Yeah,
and you're stuck with dental. I don't want dental. I need healthcare.
Yeah.
I understand what my job is.
Look at Daniel over there. He's got the best teeth in this bar. So Daniel smiles. And then, like, he's also got 6 different kinds of cancer because he keeps falling into vats of radioactive waste, and it's not doing anything good for him. And he just, like, Daniel rolls out, and he's like, we couldn't see, but he's sitting in a wheelchair. He's got like 6 machines hooked up to him. It's like, at least I got pretty teeth.
But he keeps drinking. Don't know what's all about that.
He loves it.
Probably bad for, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's some investigating happening, and Renee Montoya is like more of a character in this episode. Because in the last episode, she's just like, come on, damn it, Question, you're being such a dickhead. But this one, Question's like, Renee, I need your help. We can be a team. You can be my woman on the inside. Be like,
she's like, I hate you, but I'll do it anyway, because justice.
Yeah, so we can have a fun montage where, like, the Question is just beating guys up for information, and Renee Montoya and he's not getting very much information, and Renee Montoya is, like, knocking on doors and asking around and, like, interviewing people, and she's getting all the information.
Yeah.
But they end up at the same spot. They end up like, she got a tip from somebody, and he, just out of blind luck, found a Post-it note with someone's, like, where to meet in someone's coat that he, beat up. We meet there, and there's, maybe it could be a meta trade. That could be a good thing, where it's like, we could see, maybe we see Blockbuster in, like, his normal human form. And Renee's like, hey, he doesn't look like much. He looks kind of like a pussy. And Question's like, you better watch yourself. And they could be, like, trading these meta people who are in, like, hibernation pods, right? And they're like, yeah, you can crank their aggression up to 10, turn their powers on, and let them loose on the city. You'll keep the cops distracted for at least 2 days, Yeah. Because Hub City is... I'm trying to sell Hub City as being a kind of place where superheroes don't go. Because it's not... The crime in Hub City is not nearly as flamboyant as the crime in Gotham. And it's not as, like, dangerous as the crime in Metropolis. Mm-hmm. So, like, superheroes just don't go to Hub City. Vigilantes are in Hub City. But they're all, like, crazy, So then there's, like, a shootout, maybe. You do some things. You do some fun gadgets. Question could shoot a grappling hook through a guy's leg. That would be fun. Yank him, like in the Batman.
Yeah.
Maybe Blockbuster is about to shoot himself with, like, inject himself with the thing to turn himself into a big monster. And the Question shoots the, like, needle out of his hand. He's like, not today, Wayland. I don't know what his name is. Wayland. And they are able to rescue the metas and, like, put them up, take them to Question's hideout, because that
his
place...
name's Mark Desmond, by the way.
Oh, okay. Blockbuster's name, yeah. Mark. Not today, Mark. Yeah. But he takes him to his hideout, and he locks him up, and they're like, 3 of these tubes have been compromised, and the metas inside are dead. But one of them, the meta inside, is still alive, and we don't know what to do. So it's time, I think, we call the 3rd smartest man on the planet. End of episode 2. Episode 3 starts Mr. Terrific, one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, shows up. Now, if you don't know, Mr. Terrific is this dude. He's got a big T on his face, and he's got three like spheres that follow him around, and he's the 3rd smartest person on the planet. So he does all the science. The first 2, I think, are Lex Luthor, and then Bruce Wayne, and then Michael Howard, I think. Something.
Howard
Michael. Yeah, his first name's Michael. I was reading a Mr. Terrific comic the other day. So Mr. Terrific and Ted Kord are, like, trying to figure out how to help this meta who's just stuck in this tube. And we're only seeing, like, glimpses of him, Like, he does not look like a normal person. He looks like a very weird guy. Like, he's weird. And while Mr. Terrific and Blue Beetle...
You have to elaborate on the weird guy.
Yeah, he looks... I mean, he's got, like... You'll maybe see his arm, and it looks like it's made out of, like, purple goo. And then, you know, maybe you'll see his leg, and it looks like it's made out of rock, you know? Maybe we'll get a glimpse of his face, so he doesn't have a nose. You know, his flesh is all white. Yeah. This is a existing DC character. I'm just teasing him out.
Okay.
So while this happens, while Ted Cord and Mr. Terrific are trying to figure this out, a hostage situation begins happening. You know, Blockbuster has taken hostages because he knows that if he goes back to his boss, the secret crime lord, he's going to get killed because he failed. Yeah. So there's a hostage situation. Renee Montoya is working with the police, and the question is like, all right, well, I got to go deal with this. And, you know, we can have a cool, like, he's sneaking into the building, he's knocking guys out. But this has to end with the question, or the confrontation between Question and Blockbuster ends with the Question getting his shit pushed in. Because he's just a guy, you know? He's a smart guy who knows karate. But this guy's like the Hulk level strong. And so he can't do it alone. And just as you think all is lost, Blue Beetle jumps down. Not Ted Cord, but fully formed, he's got a costume and everything. Blue Beetle jumps down and starts saving his ass. He's got like a freeze ray and stuff. And all this cool sci-fi shit. And they're like, you know, maybe episodes prior we like tease it. We tease that Ted is like, I want to get in on all the fun stuff. I want to get on all the superhero stuff.
They're like, Ted, you're a wimp. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, I'm not a wimp. I've got science. And, his science abilities make him better than the other two. Make him miles.
You make him pretty good.
He's way above their league.
He really is. I mean, Renee Montoya is pretty famous, but she's not in the same league as Mr. Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle is like he can fight galactic level enemies.
Yeah. And so, we see how scared Blockbuster is of this secret guy, of this secret criminal. And after Ted Cord and Question, Blue Beetle and the Question, they kick his ass because, it's a superhero show and that's what happens. But we, reveal, they get commendations from their secret boss, and we reveal that it's like, oh, who is this weird count sort of guy? He's like a count. He's got a castle in a weird Eastern European country. He's got a thick accent. And he
God, it's Dr. Doom.
It's Dr. Doom.
It's a Marvel DC crossover. Didn't see it coming.
Exactly. And then they fight the Fantastic Four. And they're like, hey, Fantastic Four, fuck you.
Oh.
Haha, got him. Fuck you.
Dr. Doom should use that in the comics.
He should. That's good. That's a good burn, Dr. Doom. So that's how episode 3 ends. Episode 4 starts, Blue Beetle and Mr. Terrific have finally managed to figure out how to unfreeze this meta. And it's like a big thing. It's a big deal. It's... And out steps another fan favorite character. I don't know if you can tell. I'm just putting all my favorite DC characters in the show.
Yeah.
Metamorpho. Do you know the character of Metamorpho?
Not as well as you do.
He's like this he's hard fighting, rude, sort of dude. He's like Raphael. He's got a Brooklyn accent. He's this big tough guy, and he's, been subjected to this scientific experiment that turns him into a weird, crazy monster man.
Yeah, so that's the guy that had all the weird half body parts.
Yeah, but you know what I mean when I'm saying it's weird now. Mm-hmm. And he's got a purple sludge arm and stuff. And he can basically just transform his body into anything. Like any element.
Yeah.
So he'll like turn his legs into vapor, and then he can fly, or he'll like, we need to get this blimp on the ground, and he, turns himself into lead and like weighs it down, that sort of thing. He's doing all that sort of stuff. And so he's finally been released out into the world. And we can see that the mysterious benefactor of this criminal organization has sent two not superpowered criminals, but two like supervillains in to cause as much damage as possible and mess with the question. So those two criminals are Punch and Judy. Now Punch and Julie. Punch and Julie are basically, they're like if Harley Quinn and the Joker had a healthy relationship. You know? They're both like clown-based super criminals who are always like stealing stuff, but they're also a married couple, and that's part of their thing. Right?
Yeah.
And so this is where I need a question. I have a question for you. Ooh. I want to have a second hero come from out of town to help the question take down Punch and Julie. But the question is, do I want that hero to be Hitman, who is like this? He's a hitman. He's got 2 guns. He can see through walls and read minds. That's his superpower. Or do I want it to be the Red Hood?
Oh.
Because I think it would be rather interesting if we got the Red Hood in, because he could do the line like, "I don't like clowns," you know, and that's why he doesn't like Punch and Julie so much, because they're clown-based criminals, and he doesn't like clowns.
You know, I was thinking when you said another hero, I was immediately thinking it should be a Robin.
Yeah.
So whether it's Red Hood or it's like solo Tim Drake, probably not Dick Grayson. He's too.
Yeah, he's too
awesome.
Up the line. Yeah, he's too expensive.
Yeah, he's too expensive. I see Red Hood's just as expensive.
Yeah.
It would be cool if you did like Orphan or Spoiler. Maybe not Spoiler because I'm not a huge Spoiler fan, but Orphan's pretty cool. But I do like the idea of having a Robin or someone that's affiliated with the Bat family but not Batman.
Yeah, so
I
think
you can do like the clown jokes.
Yeah, and we could do, I think, well, I have Red Hood, but he only appears for 1 episode.
Yeah.
So Punch and Julie are causing mayhem across the city. Question is, always too late to find them, and he does some investigating, that sort of thing, finds some clues, figures out where they are, goes to their place, to confront them and beat them up. He gets his shit pushed in, because, he's just one guy and these are 2 crazy people, and he gets saved by the Red Hood. The Red Hood saves him and takes him to his place. And maybe this can be a 2-parter, actually.
2-part crossover episode, because you already have a Red Hood series that's going on. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how you sell it to the studios. They'll love that. CW is all over it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You can call it the question verse.
Yeah, I could do that. But, he saves him and, takes him to... Red Hood drives him to his secret hideout where he's stitched back up by Mr. Terrific or somebody. And that's how the episode ends.
Okay.
Episode 5 starts. The Question and Red Hood are tracking down Punch and Julie. But they have fled the city. Punch and Julie have fled the city.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a road trip between Red Hood and Question. Just 2 guys with fucking no face, And they're driving, and they're, doing flashbacks and doing talk. But there's also, the B story is Metamorpho and Blue Beetle just kind of like watching the city while they're gone. Because Metamorpho's still, learning how to use his powers and everything.
Yeah.
But he's been, brainwashed and fucked up by the, criminal organization. So he's, being taught to what it means to be a hero again.
Oh, that's a cute B story.
Yeah, I think. So I think that's happening ever since he gets unfrozen. But episode 5 is the first time that he's, out in the world doing stuff. And maybe he gets, people ew, what the fuck is that? Oh, you're so gross.
Yeah.
Get out of here, meta freak, all that stuff. And he's really mad, but then he saves a kid's life, and then the kid gives him a big hug. That sort of thing. And Blue Beetle's is a good one, And we find out that Mr. Terrific has embedded a secret explosive inside of Metamorpho.
Oh.
Because Mr. Terrific is a really great guy, but he's also a prick. you know?
Like Batman.
Like Batman. So he's always got like a backup plan and everything, and he's like, listen, I don't know Metamorpho's like real human name, but I want him to do just as well. I want him to do well and like become a hero too, but it pays to be prepared, doesn't it? So he's got like a secret thing, and maybe there can be a point in which, you know, it looks like he's gonna have to use it to like take him down, but he doesn't, and Metamorpho proves himself to be a good boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like the B story. But the A story is Question and Red Hood. They're tracking down Punch and Julie, and they find them on like a remote, weird farm in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, all right, well, you know, we can do this. And Red Hood and Question rock up, and like they're like ready to fight Punch and Julie, and they start to like pull their guns and everything, and then it's revealed that Punch and Julie have 3 kids, and that they all live on the farm together. And you think, oh, this is where we're going to try and humanize Punch and Julie, right? Even though they've been doing like horrible crimes, we're going to try and humanize them and make them seem like, oh, they're parents who care about their kids. But their kids are like crazy, brainwashed people because they've never left this farm, and they've just been raised by 2 like lunatic serial killers.
Yeah.
So it's like Question and Red Hood are like, hey, it's just kids, and then these kids like just are on them, you know? They're just like stabbing them, like hitting them with baseball bats and like drugging them and shit. And so I really want in this show, because in this show is kind of like a DC version of like Seven, right? That's kind of what I want to do, like a DC version of like the serial killer shows.
Yeah.
So Punch
Seven,
and Julie
the movie
are
with Brad Pitt.
With Brad Pitt, beautiful
Samuel
Pit boy.
Jackson.
Yeah.
No, Samuel Jackson's in it. Who else is?
No,
in
it's not. It's Morgan
Freeman. Morgan Freeman's in it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and then, you know, they get tied up, Question Red Hood, you know, some home truths are revealed, and then, you know, they escape, they do a big fight, there's a big superhero fight, they, you know, tie up the kids, whatever, and then they fight Punch and Julie, and Red Hood just cleans, like, Punch's clock. You know, he's like really fucking him up. He's got a crowbar in his arms, and he's just beating the shit out of him. And Question has to like stop him. And Red Hood's like, this piece of garbage deserves to die. And then he looks, and then he has Red Hood look over, and he just sees the 3 kids like huddled up in the corner, you know, hiding their faces because their parents are about to be killed.
Yeah. And
Red Hood just drops the crowbar and just leaves, you know? And so that's how that 5th episode ends, with like Question. He's like, Red Hood, he's got stuff, he's dealing with stuff, you know, but he didn't kill, and he could have killed Punch. He could have just pushed me over and killed the guy, but he didn't. So that's something, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And he gets back to New Orleans, and Metamorpho and Blue Beetle are like doing good, and it's like, wow, Hub City's actually got some superheroes, which is pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I have the first 5 episodes fully planned out, and then episodes 6 to 10, I just have kind of ideas.
Okay.
But the super team, their super team is kind of formed to a bit. I have a few other characters that I want to include. Well, only 2 other characters that I want to include that might be on the super team.
Okay.
And that is Dead Man. You know Dead Man?
Yes, I do.
He's Dead Man. He's like, he used to be a gymnast, then he died, and he got given magic powers, so he's a ghost. And no one can see him, but he can inhabit people's bodies and shit like that. And he uses that so. Yeah, some people, like John Constantine, can see him, and Zatanna can see him, but that's because they're magic.
Yeah.
And Snapper Carr. Now, Snapper Carr is a terrible character who I love.
Yeah.
Because he was the Justice League. Because, back in the 70s and 60s, they had to have kids and everything, right? So Snapper Carr was the kid's sidekick for the entire Justice League. He was like the mascot for the Justice League, and his power, do you want to know what his power was?
Love.
He snapped. That's why he snapped her car. He snapped at everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that sort of thing happens. We can go back and look at the mysterious benefactor, the secret crime lord, and it will eventually be revealed that it is Count Vertigo. You know, the classic character of Count Vertigo.
Yep, everyone's favorite character that they all know about and love.
Yeah. Yeah, Count Vertigo, his superpower is he makes you kind of want to vom.
Mm-hmm. They
He's
had him
gross. They have him in a lot of
they
stuff.
used
It's
him in,
weird.
what's it called? The Flash TV show.
Yeah, they used him in The Flash. They used him in Arrow. They used him in Young Justice. He's like a weirdly prominent character, even though no one cares about Count Vertigo. And there is a character in Marvel Comics whose name is Vertigo. And also DC has an imprint of more mature books. You want to know what the name of it is? Vertigo. And it's like, why are you all using this word so often?
Yeah.
It's not that good a word. It's a good word.
It's
Not that good.
Can't overuse it though.
Exactly. Exactamundo. So, we have the super team they're breaking up crimes, they're stopping drug deals and all this stuff. They're stopping this drug, which I haven't come up with the drug idea. It could just be heroin, but that's not fun.
No, it's gotta be, it's comics, so it's gotta be like,
just say drops.
Sand.
Let's say drops. Sand. Yeah, sand.
Sand.
That's a good name. Sand, it makes you feel like time is going by super slow. And you have to rub sand in your eyes.
Oh. You know, you can steal a drug that I wrote into. I wrote the pilot for a show we did called Beyond Reason. And then I made up a drug in it called lightning. And so with lightning, for you, everything's going by really fast. The whole day goes by like in an instant. So in reality, it makes you like the easiest person in the world to fight because for them, it's like everything's in... You're moving like the Flash. Like you can actually make decisions. And they're just like, whoa, oh my god, everything just moves so fast. So really easy to beat someone who's on lightning, essentially.
I always love a fictional drug, you know, because you just gave me an idea with sand. It could be like the sand. It's like Sandman, you know? Yeah. Where it's like the sand in your eyes. So you take sand and you rub it in your eyes, and you stay awake for days. You know?
So it's like super coffee.
Yeah, it's like super coffee, but they call it sand, and it's cool. Yeah, so sand. They're smuggling sand into the city. And so our team's stopping that. There's more murders and crazy weird serial killers, you know, and super criminals. I have Murmur down. Murmur is a Batman villain. His whole thing is that he murmurs. He's like when he's killing people.
He should get into rapping.
Like, that's his thing. And so he decided to sew his mouth shut so he wouldn't murmur anymore. Right? Like all sorts of weird, crazy villains. I mean, Victor Zsasz. We could do a Victor Zsasz if you wanted to. You know, we could say that Count Vertigo has a few contacts in Gotham. And the series finale will end with a few reveals, obviously. Reveal that there will be a reveal that there is a huge drug sale happening, like a sale of drugs for guns between Black Mask and Count Vertigo. That is happening inside of U.S. borders tonight. So we have to go stop it. Blah, 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 blah. And they'll do that, and, you know, maybe they'll all get captured because nobody expected Black Mask to be that ruthless, but, you know, maybe it's just after he got the mask melted to his face, so he's just, like, feeling like a real prick, you know? Roman Sionis is a real prick, isn't he?
Yes. Roman Sionis is the guy that plays the Black Mask, by the way.
Yeah. And then, you know, you can have Count Vertigo using his powers, making everybody queasy.
He is the Black Mask.
He plays him in the same way that you play the role of Jacob Gloth.
Yeah, that's not
But
right.
it's not. Even though it sounds like a perfectly real name. So yeah, he's Black Mask is trying to smuggle sand into Gotham, and Count Vertigo is trying to get weapons, for his armies or whatever. So there's all this going down, and that's what, the Question and his team, they all team up, and maybe Metamorpho can be having, like, a problem, and that's why he's maybe not in this final battle, because he kind of overpowers everyone,
Well, so does Blue Beetle. So you have to find a way to negate them. So maybe he gets Vertigo.
Maybe he gets Vertigo.
He gets Vertigo, and that throws him for a loop. And well, you have maybe because he was originally programmed, right? So maybe he's having trouble fighting these people because they originally programmed him to fight for them.
Yeah, that would be good.
There's a whole struggle, and so he's trying to deal with that. And because you had that whole beeline where he was learning to be a superhero, maybe everyone's losing the fight, and Blue Beetle's getting his butt kicked, and he's like, Metamorpho, we need you. And Metamorpho's struggling with it all, and eventually he like pulls through, and he's like, I can do it, and he helps them beat everyone up.
Yeah.
That's some nice, Justice League Unlimited sort of stuff.
Yeah, that would defo work. Yeah, and we can have, maybe they have some, like, super-powered henchmen that are, like, getting in, and they can be just, like, lesser-known villains,
Yeah.
They could get, like, Catman or some shit in there. And so we reveal that after the day is won, the battle is fought, and everything's good, we reveal that Count Vertigo is not actually the tippy top of the
I would hope
pyramid.
Not. He's not really the top kind of guy.
The tippy top of this specific pyramid is actually the famous, even more famous comic book character of Lord Deathman.
Yeah, super famous.
Who is a Batman villain whose superpower is that he's got a skull face and he can't die. But we could take away the skull face thing, maybe, because depending on the next reveal. And it's revealed that because in the comics, Batman shot him into space, and he's just been stuck in like a ball, revolving around the planet for the last few years. And so it's revealed that Lord Deathman was able to figure out a way to like communicate with people from space, and so he's still in space. And like the season ends with them getting him down from space, and he's like, ugh. That was a really long time in space, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then final reveal, the best reveal I feel is that the secret person who's been running this program that the Question works for to like find Count Vertigo and all this stuff is Director Bones. Director Bones is he works for the government. He's got translucent skin. And every time he touches something, it turns to, it's like he's got an acid touch,
Yeah.
That's his sort of power. And so we reveal all that, and we're like, oh, there's more coming. Lord Deathman has all sorts of crazy things held up for question. But they've got a team, they've got a happiness, and they've got joy. And that's all they need.
Oh.
And Mr. Terrific is like, all right, this has been fun, but I'm going to go back to saving the world and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
so that's
it's kind of above his pay grade. Or below his pay grade.
Way above
way below his pay grade.
Way below his pay grade.
Not above.
So yeah, that's what my show's been. That's what my show